Hey everyone, my name's Rechelle and I'm an artist from Sydney, Australia, if you didn't get the memo.
Welcome to Studio Sessions, a video series for creative performers. Each week we go behind the scenes on the shoots and sit down with guests to discuss their careers, the creative industry, and share the lessons they've learned along the way. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
How has your day been today?
I mean, it's been a little chaotic, but it's all worked out really well.
Yeah, I feel like landing this morning from America, having however much sleep, and then coming straight here to do this.
That's a very Rechelle day. If you could, put it anyway, like that's a very me day. I just really like to go. And if I have limited time in a city and then we had an opportunity like this, I'm just one to take it. So I landed at 5 a.m. this morning from America.
What have you been doing in America?
I've been currently on tour with Jason Derulo. We're doing the Jingle Bell, the iHeartRadio Jingle Bell Ball tour in America, which is really nice. It's my first ever American tour. And it's my first white Christmas and winter in America. So it's, we've just done one show, but it was already really, really fun. And it's one of those shows where there's a lot of artists and we have a quick turnaround and it's really exciting. And it was nice to watch the other artists and I'm looking forward to that.
How did the whole tour with Jason Derulo start?
I've been working for Jason Derulo for a year now. It started with just one job in Australia. He came to Australia last year to judge The Voice. Yeah. And then at the end of the competition, he did, a judge performance and he launched his new single and they needed dancers and I got called to be the assistant choreographer and to be his lead dancer and girl. And I've been transitioning from dancer to artist and singer for quite a long time. So I told myself no more dance gigs. I kind of just had a rule that I was only going to do a gig if it had some form of singing. So I've been doing lots of musical theatre, cabaret, gigs with my band, just at, clubs and bars and things. And so this was the first dance gig I got offered in a really long time. Kind of rule that I was inclined to accept. I've been turning them down just because, it's been a couple year process of me trying to commit to my dream. It's really hard to say no to any type of work, but I've been trying to do that. So I was in this kind of phase where I wasn't dancing professionally. I was teaching and training always, but I wasn't saying yes to just being a dancer on a gig. And so I got the call to do this and I was like, oh, damn. I don't think I can say no. I was like, fine. It's one gig. So I danced for him on The Voice. It was a really great week. It went really well. I connected with the team and I just had such a great time with Jason. I really respected him. He worked so hard. He added on all these rehearsals, wanted to get the routine perfect and was just a really pleasure to work with. And then 2 weeks later, I got a call and the creative team that was on The Voice, Jason had called them and said, I want that main girl to come on tour with me. So I got a call and I was like, how do you say no to this? So I said yes and the rest is history. I've been working for him for a year. In that year, I've done a Europe tour, now an American tour. We've done lots of Europe Summer Festival shows. It's been a really amazing experience. I didn't see it coming and it's kind of this was the last tick off the bucket list of a dancer that I never did I've done tours before and world tours, but I never did one with an artist of this caliber. And so I was like, look, if it does push my singing back, at least it's my last, tick off the bucket list of dancer.
I think what you're talking about there as well is really interesting because I think as a creative, it's very hard to pick a lane. I think when you have talents that could go in different directions, it's quite easy to just be like, oh, well, I'll just do them all. But then you kind of need to have that kind of confidence and strength and to be like, I'm going to have to say no and just focus completely on one thing.
Yes, but we need to unpack this because this is yes and no. The reason why I've been so successful is because I actually was a really diverse performer. So I'm a singer and a dancer and I did acting courses and I was I really believe, especially in Australia, because it's a little bit different. In Australia, our entertainment industry is a lot smaller than here. Yeah. So it's really difficult to be successful if you're just a dancer or just a hip hop dancer or just a jazz dancer.
There's only so many jobs in each area.
So in Australia, you really have to, I really believe that you have to be able to do everything if you don't want to have a side job.
Yeah. So stripping it right back to you being a 6-year-old, first starting performing, what was it that kind of got you into it, and what was it about performance that really drew you into that life?
My parents just said that I started singing and dancing before I started walking and talking. Like I was just a very energetic child. My grandfather was a priest, and my grandmother, my auntie, my dad, they all sung in church, and he had the most beautiful voice. And I grew up around that. I grew up around a lot of singing, and my dad was a DJ. So I always had music on my mum's side. My mum's dad, my grandfather, he has a beautiful voice. My mum loved music. I just grew up around a really musical family from a really young age. I also come from a very religious Lebanese family. So it was kind of bizarre and odd that my parents put me into performing. It's not really so common for my culture.
Yeah.
And it was even more bizarre that my beautiful grandfather, God rest his soul, who was a priest, was so supportive of me being a performer. My next door neighbor also had a daughter that was a month apart from me in age, and she was a dancer. So I started off at more of a local school, and then when we met, she was like, you need to put Rechelle into a better dance school. So then, I went to Glendee School of Dance, which was in Sydney, Western Sydney. And it was a very incredible school, really high standard. And I just went into everything: jazz, tap, ballet, theatre, acting, singing, all of the things from 6 until I graduated school, which is 17. And then I did 1 year. In Australia, it's a little bit different to here.
Yeah.
We just do 1 year of full-time dance, which is like college here.
Yeah.
Now there is places that offer 2 years, but I just did 1 year of college. But I already had an agent before I went into college because I was working from a young age.
Yeah.
So when I was 16, I got approached by the biggest agency in Sydney and kind of in Australia, because it's really small. And so I was already going to auditions under them.
And how does it feel kind of going into that, being the inexperienced one compared to other people?
Oh, yeah. So this is another thing that I experienced because I did start my professional career really young. I went through a lot of struggles because I hadn't really gone through like college yet, and I hadn't matured as a dancer. So I did feel like it was a blessing and a curse because I had to work really hard. I had kind of like the older dancers both be nurturing but also be like, why are you here? We've like done our dues and we've worked really hard, and you've just popped out of high school and got this job, kind of thing, like prove yourself. So it was a bit of both. I definitely felt a lot of pressure, and there's like moments drilled in my brain of like scary moments I had with choreographers that I really respected, and I went home like, am I ever going to work for them again? But I did.
And what's your advice to someone kind of leaving college now who are going to go into those kind of jobs where they are the most inexperienced in the room?
I think there's a beauty in it, but it just makes you mature as a dancer and a person quicker. You really just have to be extra professional. You have to do the extra work, because you don't have a relationship with the choreographer like the other dancers do. So you might get treated differently. That means you have to put in more effort. I really think sit back and observe, watch how the older, more experienced dancers are doing the steps and how they're holding themselves in the room. And it's a fine line because you want to have a presence. You don't want to just blend into the background and not have a voice and not make them remember you, but you want to find that fine line of being respectful, being like, I know that I'm young and I want to prove myself, but still
I think it's kind of being brave. It's kind of being of putting yourself in the places where you don't feel necessarily comfortable.
But you don't want to overstep and step on, you want to be respectful to...
Yeah, be brave but respectful, that kind of balance there.
And I think there is just going to be an element where you have to work harder than those because they have done that. Everyone goes through that stage. And like, it doesn't mean you get to work less hard when you're older. It just means that you've kind of done your dues a little bit more and you have a better relationship with the choreographer or more experience, and you kind of just feel a little bit more relaxed in those jobs. Definitely when you start young, you feel like all of the feelings, the excitement, the nerves,
So moving on to today, what was the first look you picked and why did you pick that?
My first look, I went for a triple leather grey leather kind of.
It's like grey. I want to feel like it was like more than triple grey.
Yeah, it was like quadruple grey or something. And everything was grey, and it's leather, but it had a bit of a suede look, and that was kind of more edgy. But the way I styled it with just like a bit of layers, and we kind of, I don't know, the way we shot it was...
It's cool. I feel like I love it when someone brings an outfit in that inspires me to create something new.
Yeah.
And I think like when we were talking before the shoot, I think it was let's experiment and kind of try stuff and kind of like work together to make something that feels like ours. And like through this, like because the grey had like a kind of pattern, it was like, it had like a texture to it. So I was like, how can I try and bring that texture into it? And look, we were using a fan. I was like, oh, maybe if I shoot through the fan, the lines that are kind of on the metal were going to kind of hit the backdrop, and I thought it all just came together, and it was just
and it's funny because I was like, I brought this fit because I thought it was safe. I was like, oh, I know it's a hot outfit. It was like a skirt and a jacket, and I was kind of like, it's safe, but I thought it's been done before. I like to really push the boundaries with my fashion, and I like to try to do things that people haven't done before. But the way that I styled it and the way you shot it, it doesn't look like it doesn't look like a common outfit. Like that's like an outfit I wear out.
Yeah.
What? No way! Oh my god! What? Oh my god. What? How the hell are we going to do?
And moving on in your career to becoming a singer, what was that transition like, and how did you kind of decide that was the route that you wanted to take?
So I've been in musicals since I was young, and I've always sung. Dance took off post school, and I just ran with it. I think like what we said before, when jobs come, you just have to take the opportunity. You never know when it's going to be there, and I was just loving being a professional dancer, so I stopped singing just for a little bit, just a few years. Actually, that's a lie. It wasn't that long. But I was mainly focused on dance, and that's where kind of my heart was going. Then I booked then I started to book more singing shows and back into cabaret and musicals, and so I was always constantly doing it. But it was when I started to book jobs where I was singing and dancing together, and I was like responsible. This is what I say, like why I love being a singer. Like as a dancer, you are responsible for the way an audience feels, but you add to a picture. Whereas when you're the artist, it's really a lot more responsibility on you. Like you're solely responsible for how the audience feels with your team and with everything. But I really liked that pressure, and I did a lot of different jobs. Like I did cabaret for a while, and that was a more intimate setting. Like sometimes we'd do shows for under 100 people, and it was so intimate coming from dancing where you're on big stages and you see no faces, you just see lights and a sea of people, to being in an audience where I was singing and that was the audience member, and you could read them. Like I could read when they were bored, I could read when they were happy, and I started to really learn how to manipulate the way they watched my performance. Like I loved a challenge. I loved when I saw someone that wasn't really enjoying it. I loved like pushing their buttons and getting them on my side.
And what's your advice for doing that kind of thing?
Oh, that really just took experience. Like it was so nerve-wracking. It really just took experience. It just took being in the room, being confident. Like I watch videos back of when I first started cabaret, and I was like so far away from them, and then so later I was like sitting on their lap and touching them and like being like, come on, love me. So you just that just kind of came to experience, and that's really what started to make me just want to divert my path to singing. I found a way that I got to do everything I loved. Like I got to dance, like have this pressure of controlling the room. I got to sing, and often I was lucky in cabaret. I got to like style myself and create my own acts, and I'm just that person. Like I really I love control, and I just liked the pressure and the hardworking aspect of it. Like it's a little bit more than entering a room and someone choreograph something, and like that's also got its own challenges where you're a dancer. But once I started to have the power where I was creating things and I was responsible for a lot more, when I went back to dancing, I was like, oh, I'm not challenged as much because I've had that.
Yeah.
And I found that when I went into a room, I was then like trying to speak over the co-band. I was like, oh, wait, step back.
Stay back. Remember your place.
And I just love singing. So yeah, that's what started to make me do it. And then this process from dancer to singer, look, I'm still dancing, so I haven't fully converted, but it's been a challenge because I am someone that likes to just work a lot, never say no. I like to, I love dancing. I'm still teaching. I'm always going to train, but I'm 28 now, and I've had the dream, like my ultimate goal since I was a kid is to have my own concerts and to be an artist. And I was just like, okay, time is ticking. But at the same time, I feel like I haven't ever been more ready and more in my artistry and in myself than I am now at 28. I think 5 years ago, I would have been very different. But yeah, I just like felt a kick up my bum this year. And I was like, Rechelle, you've been saying for the last 5 years, I'm going to release my music, I'm going to do this. And I just have been scared. Been so scared. And so this year I just did it. I've started. Yeah.
Cool. So moving on to the second look from today, what was that and what made you bring that?
So the second look was, more inspired by like Rechelle the artist. I wanted to bring a more like classy, we went for this whole vintage look. So then this one, I had this high neck, long leather dress, which kind of made me feel a little, Jessica Rabbit-ish vibes, and I had leather gloves because it's winter, and I wanted to give it like a classy singer,
Yeah, it really had that kind of like old Hollywood kind of feel to it,
100%.
that kind of classic. Yeah, it was beautiful. So kind of like you mentioned earlier, you kind of had a few challenges along in like your career. What are some of those, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I think my biggest challenge being an artist, a Lebanese artist in Australia, it's obviously times have changed now, but when I was growing up, it was still very much that every job wanted the true blue Aussie, blonde hair, blue eyes, light skin. Even my primary school, I was like one of the only dark girls that was hairy, that had bushy eyebrows and like frizzy hair, and I was so different. I did cop a lot of bullying growing up, and then it was a little bit difficult because all the jobs, they wanted kids that were just that true blue Aussie. So when there did come a show where they were like, oh, we need this culture, I was like in my element, and that's when I felt like, oh wow, I have a place in this world. That was definitely a really big challenge that was consistent through my whole childhood growing up. Even in high school, I got bullied a lot for being different, and I'm someone that I've always been so proud of my culture and so proud of my faith. And I'm really, I owe it to my family who raised me to be like this. And I have a big Lebanese community at home. It feels like I'm a very Australian, like I'm very Aussie, but I really am truly Lebanese. Like the way I was raised, I'm just like very Lebanese. And it's funny now, like they were the challenges growing up. Now as an artist in my music, I'm choosing to add my culture and my Arabic influence in all of my songs. So this has kind of been where I was tossing up for a while, like what's my point of difference as an artist, because it's hard when you just love music. I don't have a genre that I want to stick to. No, I want to do R&B, I want to do house, I want to do dance songs, I want to do every genre. I'm a theater kid, I want to do ballads, I want to do everything. So it was so hard to be like, what's your lane, what's your thing? I was like, I don't have a thing. I'm a dancer, I'm a performer, I love everything. But I started to do like cover songs and really bring like the Middle Eastern scale and the songs into my cover gigs, and everybody would compliment that. That would be the standout song. I would bring the Arabic drum into my gigs. I would bring like, there's a big drum and then there's a small drum called the tarbake, and then the big one is called the table. I would bring that into my gigs, and then it obviously makes me so happy because I'm so connected to it. So then this year I went into the studio, and I also worked with a producer whose wife's Lebanese. So he's
gets it,
been around it his whole life, and he really knew what the music brought and was very familiar with the sound. And it just came out so easily. Like, my first EP consists of 7 songs, and each song we wrote in a day. We wrote in a day, maybe a day and a half, we were like fully finished a song, recorded, mastered, harmonies, everything. We were like, what? It just came out so easy because I used my culture. It's such a big part. So it's so funny that it was like maybe what was bringing me down in my childhood and
became your strength later.
Yeah, it became my strength.
And what's your advice to someone if they're kind of a bit younger and they're going through that kind of thing, like they're being bullied or they don't feel like they fit into a certain community?
I had this conversation with another friend of mine in the States, and she put up like a post being like the real baddies were the ones that were bullied growing up. And I was lucky that I had a good support system around me. Like, my mum is really incredible. I used to say, like, are you God? I used to be like, how do you know everything? Mothers know best. But I did like counseling as a kid and everything. Like, I really was deep in it. But as were all my sisters, like, we were all bullied for different things. But I feel like it builds your character. And in our industry, there's a lot of setbacks, there's a lot of no's, there's a lot of heartache, there's a lot of heartbreak. So I felt like every no and every challenge and every moment that I was bullied, it just builds your character and it makes you stronger. And you really need to be resilient in this industry. It's tough. Like, any industry is tough, but this is tough. As artists, we put our soul on the line. We put like all of who we are. We are vulnerable. We put that out for the world to see. And it's really hard when, people judge it or you get setbacks. And
you take it so personally.
Yeah, and now I'm actually like been copying a little bit of controversy online because I am promoting my culture and people are coming for me as well. Like, I'm now experiencing bullying again as an adult with social media, and now, like, sometimes it gets to me, but I kind of look at it and have to brush it off and laugh. And I think it doesn't affect me because it affected me when I was younger. Yeah. So what I would give advice, like, it doesn't last. Like, these things make you stronger. It is heartbreaking, but I really believe in God. I have a really big faith, and I feel like you don't ever get put in a situation that you can't handle. And everything is character building. If you have a good support network, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, I was lucky my mum did push me into counseling and therapy, like, from a kid. I was in all of that really young, but it just built me up to who I am today. So I wouldn't and you'll be surprised. I feel like everyone goes through some form of bullying. It's not uncommon. And it's sad, but I think it's for a reason.
So moving on to the third look from today, what was that? What made you bring that?
Okay, so my third look is a little bit more sexy, and it was a bit more, it was like a tight look. It was like all stockings, like all on my body, showing my physique, and it was a bit sexier. And I'm a 28-year-old woman. I'm really comfortable in my skin and my body, but I've gone through moments where I haven't been, and I'm at a point now again where I'm really feeling very confident in me, and like I wanted to bring that. But again, I also really promote being sensual and not sexual. As an artist, I really, you want to have that element of like mystery and stuff. And I feel like I took an outfit that could have been very sexualized. And again, because we went to like classy and like this, again, vintage old school era look, and with your lighting and you put haze and made it so mysterious and beautiful. We took a look that could have been very raunchy, and it's so classy and so beautiful. And that's like another side of me. I feel like I had the urban, this is the comp card. We've come full circle. Still, as an artist, I'm using like what I have, the foundations of being a dancer. Like, we did like a classy look, we did an urban look, and we did like a sexy look. Thank you so much. Oh my God. So that was the third one.
Boom. And what does the future look like for you now?
My near future, I'm really enjoying working for Jason Derulo, so I would like to keep on his team. If as long as they want me, I want at least the next 6 months to a year. I would like to still be working with him. I mean, you never know what the future holds. But while I'm constantly releasing music, so I've released 2 singles so far. One's called Serpent, one's called Goodbye. I have lots of music coming out, like the next 3 to 4 months, I'm releasing another like 2 singles. I've got a song coming out, like a collaborative song with another artist in Australia. And then I'm going to put out my EP, and I have more music videos and everything. So yeah, the future, you can expect more music coming soon, which I'm really excited about because I've been, holding on to it for a minute. And working really hard to get my music video ready, to get all the content ready and everything. And yeah, I just hope that slowly I get to keep performing as Rechelle. And I've been, doing performances where I get to sing my own music, and that is so rewarding. I love covers. I love singing cover songs. We all have to do it. And when you make it your own anyway, so it doesn't feel like the other artist's song, it feels like mine. But the feeling singing my own music, oh my gosh, it's like nothing. I can't even describe it. And now the last few jobs I've done, I've started to see people in the audience sing my lyrics. Like, what the hell? It's crazy. It's a new feeling, but that's what the future looks like.
And if you could talk to the 6-year-old Rechelle now, what would you say?
Oh, don't make me get emotional. I would say that I'm proud of her. I would say, don't shy away from any challenge. Keep your family and your loved ones close. Keep your real ones close because you need them. I would say, don't worry about all the nasty around you because it's just going to build you. Every setback is just going to make you stronger. God has your back. Every door closed is, another door leading to another door, a window open. And I'm just proud of her. She's got this. That's what I would say.
Boom. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. I could talk and talk. We have to do part 2.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please share it. If you want to see more of these, click subscribe. And if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask, just drop them in the comments below. See you in the next session.